بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم اغفر لنا ولشيخنا ولجميع المسلمين. قال المؤلف رحمه الله: وإن بلغ قلتين وهو الكثير وهما 500 رطل عراقي تقريبا، فخالطته نجاسة غير بول آدمي أو عذرته المائعة فلم تغيره، أو خالطه البول أو العذرة ويشق نزحه كمصانع طريق مكة فطهور، ولا يرفع حدث رجل طهور يسير خلت به امرأة لطهارة كاملة عن حدث.
So we begin today regarding the issues of tuhur. I want to do a quick summary of some of the things where there is ijma' of the ummah on before we get to Qullatayn. Tayyib? And there's a reason, because a lot of times people focus a lot on the khilaf. Yani there is some Ahnaf took this, Shafi'i took this, and Maliki and Hanabila and Zahiri. But there is more. In fact, the vast majority of the masail, yani the Muslim ummah has consensus. So alhamdulillah, we should focus on that, we should understand that. Yani, if something that is tahir mixes with water that is tahur, and it does not change any one of the three qualities. Tayyib. What are the three qualities? Lawn, color, the ta'am, the taste, rih, the smell. These three qualities, this is the only three qualities that can change in water. So if something tahir mixes with tahur water and does not change any of these qualities, tayyib, what is the hukm on this? It's tahur. Ijma'an. Ibn Qudama in Al-Mughni mentions ijma' on this. Tayyib. Now, I haven't begun the distinction between kathir and qalil right now. We're going to do that today, inshallah, but I just want to mention some of these right now. If something fell in the water, tayyib, and it was not put in on purpose, and it didn't overwhelm the water, tayyib, and it's still tahur. This is also known by ijma', and we can look at the hadith of Maymuna and others. If something is added to the water artificially, meaning there is a fa'il for the fi'l, meaning the person does it, and it changes the name of the water from ma', that is no longer tahur ijma'an, by consensus. Tayyib. Now that would become what? Tahir. Tayyib. Depending on what you added, but we're not talking about najasat yet, right? So this is important because there is some khilaf we're going to discuss when we get to tahir, but this issue is not bi khilaf. Some of the brothers, the reason I emphasize some things, because I get videos of people teaching fiqh, and I have some pet peeves, and I have some things that really upset me. One of them is when people don't research an issue enough and they act like they know what is rajih. They're always like, the stronger opinion is, have you looked at the other ahadith? Have you looked at the responses? Have you looked at the, no, just read one book or watched one video from some shaykh and assumed it, right? And second is when people who are supposed to be teachers don't get advanced in their research. And one thing is aam people, they just need to know the hukam. But you inshallah brothers will be teachers inshallah. You're going to be leaders of the ummah, so you need to know the depth of these things. So even when you look at the khilaf between those who said there is tahur, tahir and najis, and those that said there is only tahur and najis, and this is not a major khilaf, very few ulama, but some of the respected ulama from the later times have taken the two types. This is why I'm even mentioning it. Khair, but even those both categories of ulama, they agree that if you change the name of the water, it is no longer tahur, it is tahir. So even if you don't believe there's a water category called tahir, you still admit that there is such a thing. The only difference is you say, well, it's not considered water anymore at all. It's not one of the categories of water. So for example, if I take water and I put green tea leaves in it and I cook it and I put a little sugar or honey, right? And I mix it up. Ijma'an, I cannot make wudu with that anymore. Why? Because that is no longer called water. So this is just a couple of points I wanted to make before we get to today's dars. Tayyib. So as Adam read, now we are getting to in balagha qullatayn. If we reached qullatayn, what is qullatayn? This is something, those of you who have studied fiqh in any madhab or any matan, you will have studied this issue. Qulla, if you talk about one, it's called a qulla. طيب. قاف لام بالشدة وتاء مربوطة يعني في آخره قلة والفتحة على الشدة. That is one. This was a pot that was used for measuring in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In our time, what do we have? We have liters, we have gallons, we have other forms of measuring like that. I'm talking about containers. There is, if you talk about an ounce or a troy ounce or all these things, in the end it goes down to some standard used, right? In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this was a large bowl and it was used for measuring. Qullatan would be two. Two of them are called qullatan. If you make it majroor, then it would be qullatayn, because it's muthanna, it's majroor bil ya. Tayyib. What is the jam'a for it? If there are many, qilal. Qilal is the jam'a for qulla. That's many. So qulla is how many? One. Qullatayn or qullatan is two. Qilal is many. Tayyib. So now we get to the first issue of our dars, which is in balagha qullatayn fahuwa kathir. Tayyib. This is very important. What does this mean? And you should take notes on this. In the Sharia, we have a distinction between a large amount of water and a small amount. Kathir wa qaleel. Kathir is what? ما هو في قلتين أو أكثر. Whatever reaches قلتين or is more is considered كثير. ما هو قليل ما أقل من القلتين. Whatever is less than قلتين is considered a small amount of water. Tayyib, why is that important? If we say, let's say I bring you a cup of water, right? And you see a dog urinating and a splash of that urine clearly goes into that cup of water, right? And I look at it and you look at it and I'm like, would you drink it? No, in the Sharia you cannot. It's najis. Now would a drop of urine make that much amount of water najis or not? We'll discuss adilla on that. It does, but we'll discuss it. Tayyib, would you make wudu with it? Let's say you had to make wudu. No. What if you did? Is your wudu valid? No. If your wudu is not valid, is your salah valid? Salah is the highest form of physical ibadat, right? So now take the same scenario. Let's say you open your faucet, right? Water's coming out, you make wudu with it, right? Where does that water come from? Most likely a reservoir somewhere, right? Or a large body of water. Even if you have a water tank, they get it from somewhere. That reservoir is probably in a lake or maybe a stream or Colorado River or whatever, right? Dogs don't go pee there, right? So why did you make that distinction? That it's okay when it's a large body of water. And you can say, well, logically, well, Islam's not based on your intellect. Islam's based on adillah. So here we look at the adillah about this issue. So in Sharia, we make a distinction between a large amount of water and a small amount of water. But what is a large amount of water? This is one of the usul of the Hanabila especially, and of many other madhahib as well, which is not to make distinctions without adillah. Some madhahib, not mentioning any names here, they just like to make up numbers. Any 3 toenails, if 3 toes, if they stick out, the size of a dirham, size of this. And then you ask like, what's the dalil for that? Yeah, made ijtihad, sat around, came up with a number, right? But the Hanabila bil-aks, the Hanabila are very strict on not making up their own measurements without adillah, without proofs. And we'll study this throughout the durus to understand the usul. I'm going to be, because it's more advanced, I'm going to be introducing you to the practical implementation of some of the usul of the madhab as well. Tayyib. So what does the muallif here say? What is a large amount of water? Tayyib, what reaches Qullatayn? And then from that we can understand, or more than that. So what do we understand from that istidlalan? That less than that is considered a small amount of water. Tayyib, what is the dalil? فالدليل حديث أخرجه إمام أبو داود والترمذي وابن ماجه وإمام أحمد في مسنده وابن حبان والنسائي وابن خزيمة وحديث دون الشك صحيح صحه والطحاوي وابن خزيمة وابن حبان وإمام الحاكم والذهبي والنبوي وابن حجر الأسقلاني. The hadith that I'm mentioning here is, and I mentioned the reporters first, and I'll explain why. إذا بلغ الماء قلتين, if water reaches قلتين لم ينجسه شيء. طيب, nothing makes it najis. طيب, now this is to tell you that قلتين was referred by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another hadith لا يحمل الحدث or najasa or khabath, it does not carry khabath or najasa and so on and so on. There's many riwayat, but this hadith is reported by many a'imma, as I've already read the list, and it was authenticated by many a'imma, even if some of the asanid were criticized by some of the ulama of hadith. But there is no doubt that if you look at all of the asanid that have come with the meaning of Qullatayn being a large amount of water, then it is authentic without a doubt. I read an entire book written by one of the earlier a'imma just on the takhrij of the ahadith of Qullatayn. This is how deep those ulama were in their takhrij of hadith. Khair, so the point being, now we have an authentic dalil. Why? Ibn al-Nahwi, which is the scholar commonly referred to as Ibn al-Mulaqqan. Ibn al-Mulaqqan is commonly called Ibn Mulaqqin, even though he didn't like that name. But I still have to call him because to let you know who he is. He preferred being called after his own father's name, which is Ibn Nahwi. Ibn Mulaqqin was named after his stepfather. But he also wrote a great research on this, and he explained that this is authentic. فقال ابن النحوي فهي صحيحة من غير شك. Ibn Mulaqqin said that this is authentic without any doubt. There is no doubt to it. Tayyib. So that tells us that there is a clear dalil of what is a large amount of water. And then that gives us a clear dalil of what is a small amount of water. Tayyib, how much is Qullatayn? It's 2 of these pots. But how much is that? The ulama have explained from the aqwal of Sahaba and Tabi'in and others, and they've mentioned this in their kutub, that it's about a dira', which is an arm length, wa ruba', and a quarter, wide, deep, and long. Right? The muallif here explains it in the use of its time. He said it's 500 ritl Iraqi. 500 ritl Iraqi. Iraqi ritl was a use of measurement used in his time. Others have mentioned with the Damashqi and this and that. A very important part he says with it is taqriban, about. The other mistake some people make is they start to get the little inches, you tell about 48 Hashimi miles, they're out there looking at centimeters. These are not to be taken that precise. This is taqriban, about. You're not going to be looking at getting a water dropper and making sure that every bit of the Qullatayn is covered. No, it just gives you an idea. So you're not guessing at what is big and small. How much is that in our time? My Sheikh, Sheikh Dr. Sadiq Al-Manna, when I learned this from him, he said this is about 216 liters. And this was not based on just his idea. He had gone out, he had built a unit based on the measurements that he had found, and he had filled it. I have found great variation amongst the different books that have been published and different ulama. One of the ulama, one of the very strong ulama, he said it's about 300 liters. I found some others that said 162 liters to 190 liters. Wallahu a'lam. Again, let's just take it to be around 200 liters, right? Which would be, let's say, 45 to 55 gallons of water, right? So the idea again is not to be looking at is it half full of a gallon or whatever. No, the idea is if you look at a body of water, and let's say what we use here is gallons, right? Let's say around 50 gallons of water. Understand this is about Qullatayn. Right? You don't have to go and scoop it out in bottles and measure it out and all that. You got to understand estimation, right? Tayyib. So if it is mixed with najasa, khalatuhu, it is mixed najis, something that is najasa. غير بول الآدمي. Here the muallif makes a distinction. He says that what I'm about to say does not include the urine or liquid waste, whether we look at what we call it the number 2 or whatever, right? Let's take that aside. فَلَمْ تَغَيَّرُهُ. It does not change. So if water reaches Qullatayn or more than that, and some najasa falls in it, it does not affect the water as long it doesn't change any of the qualities of the water. Tayyib? Or if it's mixed with bawl, urine or feces of the human, but it's difficult to extract from it. And he gives the example here, كما مصانع الطريق المكة. طريق المكة, the way to Mecca that was known for the people who were Hujjaj in the time of the Muallif, used to have what's called masani'. Masani' were large pits that were dug in kind of a stepped manner, and rainwater would kind of gather in it, would be collected in it, and the people going for Hajj would use that. Now these were big, but not as big as a lake, but bigger than Qullatayn. I'll explain this in a minute, inshallah. فالطهور, so then it remained as tahur. طيب. So the first issue is regarding Qullatayn. Qullatayn sets a precedence for what's considered a large amount of water, and what's less in it is a small amount of water. طيب. We say, according to the ijma' of the ulama, if the water is more than Qullatayn, and some najasa falls in it. Again, we're not talking about bawl al-adami right now. We'll discuss that mas'ala later. But regular najasat fall in it. That water becomes what? Perfect. It was a trick question, but you didn't get tricked. It's still tahur. What if there is so much najasa that the color or taste or smell changes in that large amount of water? In that case, it becomes najis. There is no tahir in this discussion. It's either tahur or najis. طيب? So let's say there is a small pond next to a factory, and that factory deals with dog poop, I don't know, and they start to throw that in that pond, and that pond, from the amount that they're throwing in, it becomes stinky. You can smell it in the water. Even if that pond is more than Qullatayn, or when you look at the pond from the filth, not from other causes, the water's color has changed. Or if you tasted it, you tasted a change. In those scenarios, that water is najis. Tayyib. What is the dalil for that? There are ahadith on it, but there is kalam on the asanid, but the dalil for that is ijma', the consensus of the Muslim Ummah. Imam al-Shafi'i, Muwaffaq ibn Qudama, An-Nabawi, Ibn Mundhir, others have mentioned that there was ijma', consensus of the Ummah on this issue. There is hadith on it as well, but as I said, the main dalil we rely on upon here is ijma' because of the weakness in the hadith. Tayyib. So you understood this mas'ala? Now we get to qalil. Tayyib. If we look at water that is less than qullatayn and something najis falls in it, tayyib, but it does not change any of the three qualities. It does not change its taste, it does not change its color or its smell. Okay, let's say you have a bucket of water and a drop of najasa falls in it, but you're sure, yaqeen, that there is a drop of najasa fell in it. But it didn't change the water. What is the hukam on that water? Najis. Excellent. And I thought I was going to trick you guys with this one too. But there is khilaf on this issue. For example, the Malikiyya, they have khilaf on, they don't take this opinion. But the Jamhur al-Ulama, and this is the madhab, yani this is the mu'tamid of the madhab, is that it's najis. Tayyib. If there is a small amount of water, tayyib, a bucket of water, and something najis falls in it that changes one of the three qualities, what is the hukam now? Najis bi ijma' al-ummah. It's najis according to the consensus of the ummah. So there are four scenarios you should learn here, right? Large amount of water, najasa changes its qualities, it's najis bi ijma'. Large amount of water, najasa does not change any of its qualities, tahur bi ijma'. Small amount of water, najasa changes its qualities, it is najis bi ijma'. Small amount of water, najasa does not change its qualities. Jamhur al-ulama and the madhab, what is rajih, what is correct, is it is najis. Tayyib, what's the dalil for this? I mean, the other three we mentioned is ijma', so ijma' is dalil by itself, even though there are hadith on it as well, but I said there is ijma', so why are we discussing it further? Tayyib. But here, let's discuss this. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم, Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم told us in the hadith reported in Sahih Muslim and other books of hadith, but no doubt it's authentic hadith. Tuhur, not tahur, but tuhur إناء أحدكم إذا ولغ فيها الكلب أن يغسله 7 مرات. صح ولا لا؟ طيب. ففي الرواية أيضا في صحيح مسلم فليرقه، يعني الماء في الإناء يرقه. In the hadith that Imam Muslim has recorded in his Sahih, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that if a dog licks one of the dishes or your bowl or something that you have, then its cleansing is washing it 7 times, the first of them being with earth, right? أولهن بالتراب in one of the riwayat. In one of the riwayat in Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah said, and also empty it out, throw out its contents. Tayyib, so a bowl that's in somebody's house is going to be less than Qullatayn, right? Tayyib. So it's less than Qullatayn, and let's say there is water in it, and a dog licks it. Did Rasulullah say that the color has to change, or the taste has to change, or the smell has to change. No. He said that you pour it out. Now, if it was tahir, would it be jaiz for you to throw it out? No. If it was tahir, it would not. That's israf. If you have water and it's pure, you can't use it for wudu, but you could have used it for cooking. You can't make israf of water. So that tells us that that water was najis. It's najis, you can pour it out. Najis, you can't use. So this is a very clear dalil why the Jamhur al-Ulama and the madhab is correct in this ruling, that if there is a small amount of water and any najasa like the walagh al-kalb gets in it, even if it doesn't change if its qualities, it becomes najis. You guys understand the dalil? Those that are watching online, since due to social distancing, we don't have students here, but those that are. Tayyib. So now we get to the issue of Qullatayn. Clear for everybody? It's important because you're going to be traveling, you're going to be going places, you're going to be living somewhere to learn Arabic or whatever. You're going to have a water heater, and that's going to contain your water. It's going to be less than Qullatayn. Animals are going to fall in it. You're going to need to know this knowledge. This is fiqh that is fard al-ain on you. Adillah and things, not so much, but the hukam. But for you, you should know the adillah as well, because you're going to be teaching this. Tayyib. Next, the muallif mentions غير بول الآدمي. Tayyib. He said, not including the urine of human beings. And then he added the feces as well to it. What is the dalil? So the dalil here is the hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam muttafaqun alayhi, and it's authentic hadith. He said, لا يبولن أحدكم في الإناء في الماء دائم ثم يغتسل منه وفي الرواية ثم أو يشرب. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in the hadith that's reported in Bukhari and Muslim that one of you should not urinate in standing water and then bathe in it or wash with it. Another rawayat that Ibn Khuzaymah and Ibn Hibban have also authentically mentioned, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you should not drink from it afterwards. في الرواية ثم يتوضأ أيضا, يعني another rawayat, you should not make wudu from it. What does that tell us? That if water is standing and you urinate in it, then that water becomes najis, right? Because if Rasulullah only said don't use it for wudu, we could have said maybe it takes the hukm of tahir. But if Rasulullah said don't wash with it at all, don't even drink from it, so that tells you it's no longer even tahir, it is najis. Hadith is sahih, no doubt. Now we have not a contradiction, but a implementation issue between two ahadith. One hadith is the hadith of Qullatayn, which is that Rasulullah said if some water reaches Qullatayn, it does not become najis. It does not carry najasa. Tayyib. Another hadith Rasulullah said that if there is water that is stagnant and a man urinates in it, it becomes najis. Some of the a'imma and ulama and the Jamhur al-Ulama, yani the majority of the ulama, they said that the hadith about urinating is khas for qalil, yani it's regarding a small amount of water. And the hadith about Qullatayn is aam, and its hukam, it's more applicable about any large amounts of water. So the hukam is that bawl al-adami kal sa'ir al-najasat, the urine of a man. Now why did we put feces? Because the feces is ashad, yani it's more najis than even, so it's included. So the Jamhur al-Ulama took the opinion, including the madhab al-thalatha, yani the Shawafi'ah and the Malikiyah and the Hanafiyah, and this is the opinion of the mutaakhirin min al-Hanabila aidan, from the later Hanabila, that there is no distinction between the rest of najasat and the urine of humans, or feces and human. But from the mufradat of the madhab, and this is the opinion of the muqaddimeen, yani the earlier Hanabila, they made a distinction. They took the same usul, same ahadith, but they saw it differently. They said that the hadith of Qullatayn is regarding a general situation, but the hadith of the Bawl al-Adami is khasan for Bawl al-Adami, and we take this to mean that even if it is a large amount of water, meaning more than Qullatayn, Bawl al-Adami will still make it najis. طيب? I know this is going to be a little more advanced in our Akhsar and Umda Durus, so I want to make sure everybody's with me, okay? So, let me give you some situations. There is, let's say you have a large body of water. Let's say you have like a small, you know those swimming pools that people put in their backyards? So, it's more than Qullatayn, right? It's that size. Now, one of the kids pees in it. Happens, right? Now, the issue gets to be that is that water najis or not, right? So, if you take the opinion of the Jamhur, then they would say no, because it's a large amount of water, it keeps its ruling. Now, we're talking about rulings. You may want to take it out anyway, but that's up to you. We're talking about rulings. طيب? But according to this opinion, even though it's a large amount of water, it becomes najis. But the muallif here gives another caveat with this also. He goes, unless it's difficult to clean, right? Like the masani' fi tariq al-Makkah, right? So meaning when the Hujjaj were going, those pits that collected water that they needed at that time, they didn't have business class flights to be like you guys. They were going on camels and foot and deserts, and there was water that was needed, right? So for them, even if a dog had urinated in it, but they needed that water, right? And they couldn't go and empty out a pit in the ground, right? So he says, in that case, it's still tahur. Okay? Now, when we say this is the madhab, this is one of the sad things, again, another pet peeve I have, is people don't know how to know what is the madhab. They pick up a book of Hanbali fiqh. I get this all the time. Somebody criticizes me, they tell me, brother, don't talk about adillah, just teach the madhab. Right? I get this, just teach the madhab. Tayyib, how would I teach the madhab here? If just teach the matan, right? If I just teach the matan, I'm going khalif to the madhab. And if I teach the madhab, I'm going khalif to the matan. Then they'll be upset anyway. And other people tell us, just teach adillah. But if I'm just reading a hadith, how will you understand this mas'ala? Both hadith are sahih. Okay? Brothers say, my madhab is dalil. Tayyib, there is a dalil. إذا بلغ الماء قلتين لم ينجسه شيء. Hadith sahih. Another hadith, that's also a dalil. والرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم made منع هو بول في الماء دائم لا يشربه لا يتوضأ منه. That's also a sahih hadith. Now what's your madhab here? What are you going to follow? This is people's shortcoming. They don't know how to study. Tayyib, I follow the stronger hadith. Well, they're both strong hadith. How are you going to figure out which one's stronger, which one's applicable, right? First thing to know, what is the madhab? Because Zad al-Mustaqni is one of the books of the madhab, but that doesn't mean that it's mu'tamidan. It's a matan. And I have a video that explains how to know the madhab. I'm not going to get into all the books, but I will tell you this. As far as many of the mutaqaddimeen from the earlier Hanabila, they took the madhab to be what the muallif has mentioned here. That Bawl al-Adami makes even a large amount of water najis unless it's difficult to extract. And other imma from the Hanabila have mentioned, more importantly, Imam al-Mardawi and al-Insaf. and Mardawi and Al-Insaf, which is one of the books to know the final ruling on the madhab, he says that even the Muqaddameen had that view. The view of the Mutakhireen is that they go with the Jamhur. And he says that this is adhar, this is the most correct opinion, وهذا المذهب وهو المذهب. And this is the madhab. So what is rajih is that, as mentioned, al-insaf to be the madhab. And what is rajih bi-adillah, from the adillah, is that large amount of water does not become najis even with bawl al-adami. This is the madhab. This is the mu'tamid of the Hanabila. And this is also the opinion of the other three a'imma. And this is what is clearer from adillah. Why? Regarding bawl al-adami fi ma ad-da'im, that does not give you takhsis of qalil wal kathir. That is aam. The hadith of Qullatayn gives you khas about the amount. And the usul in fiqh is, when there is a khas regarding a mas'ala, it is given precedence over the aam. The hadith about ma ad-daim just tells you that it's not running water. It could be a bowl of water, it could be a bucket of water, it could be a lake. It's aam. But this hadith of Qullatayn gives you a specific amount of water. So what is the mas'ala here? Is it about bowl or about kathir and qalil? We all agree that if it's a small amount of water and somebody urinates in it, bowl al-adami, it's najis. So it's not about bowl being najis or not, it's about the amount. So if it's about the amount, then the hadith of Qullatayn is rajih, and this is the correct opinion according to the madhab and according to the dalil. Both ways, whichever way you want to take it. And the Jamhurul Ulama. Tayyib, you guys tired? How long has the video been going?
37 minutes.
I want to cover one more issue, but it's a deep issue. Tayyib, we will cover it inshallah. Tayyib, this is the next mas'ala. ولا يرفع الحدث الرجل طهور يسير الخلط به امرأة لطهارة كاملة عن حدث. طيب. This is from the mufradat of the madhab again. The unique opinions of the Hanabila, where the other ai did not take this. So what is the mas'ala? The mas'ala here is that the muallif here, Al-Hajjawi, he says that a man cannot perform tahara from a state of hadath. Tayyib? From the small amount of water that was left over. Too long? From the small amount of water that was left over by a woman who was performing wudu with it privately, or getting rid of hadath from me. She was, whether it's wudu or ghusl, privately. Tayyib. So now we get into a very interesting case scenario, which gets to be a water that a woman alone, not like her and her husband taking ghusl. Let's say she's making ghusl from a state of nifas or haid or janaba, and she does it privately, meaning it's not the same time as her husband, and it's not a large amount of water. What's the small amount? Less than Qullatayn. And she does a complete tahara, like a complete ghusl, for example. Not just washed her face or not just part of it, right? Then a man cannot use that water for complete tahara, from hadath. Can he use it from najasat? Izala najasat? Yes. So this mas'ala is from the mufradat. This is from the unique opinions of the Hanabala, meaning the other ai they took this not to be the case. They said they can use it. And this is something many people don't know about. And if you look at a lot of the ai and ulama, they will say, well, Imam Ahmad also has a qawl that yes, like the other ai, and he can use it, and this is easier, and they just go with that. But this is not the way to study fiqh. Yani when you want to look at adillah, you want to look at proofs and istidlal and how to use, then you have to look at a lot of proofs in depth, inshallah. Tayyib. So if we look at adillah here, what do we find? We find there to be clear ahadith that both opinions have used. Tayyib. So how will you, this is again when people say, I just follow dalil. Well, let's look at this issue now. Tayyib. There is the hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam أنه يغسل من فضل الميمونة, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this is in Sahih Muslim, he used the leftover water from his wife Maymuna and he made ghusl with it. طيب. Another hadith, اغتسل بعد الزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Some of the wives of Rasulullah used, or one of them, or some of them, they used water for ghusl, and then they used a jifna. Jifna is a bowl. فجاء يعني فجاء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيغتسل منها فقالت له إني كنتم جنبا، يعني في رواية، فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الماء لا ينجس، أو في رواية لا يخبت. طيب. So in this hadith, which is also an authentic hadith, but some of the wives of Rasulullah, or one of them, used a bowl of water to make ghusl from being in a state of janaba. Another rawayah mentions hadith. And Rasulullah came and used that water. And his wife told him, I was in a state of janaba. He said the water does not become junub, or does not make junub. In this difference in wording here, which we'll get into the meaning of. Tayyib. Now, this would support the Jamhur, right, which would say that Rasulullah used that water. But there is also the hadith that is sarih, yani it's a very clear hadith. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم he نهى, يعني أنه نهى, he forbid from يعني أن يغسل الرجل, that a man نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يغسل الرجل بفضل امرأة, from the leftover of a woman. So now you have two different ahadith that show two different rulings, right? What do you do? Not just that, there are other adillah. There is the hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا بس أن يغتسل الرجل والمرأة من جنابة من إناء واحد. The Rasul, there is no problem if a man and a woman, they make their ghusl from one dish or bowl. فإن خلت, يعني, but if she did it by herself in seclusion, in khalwa, in khalat bihi, فلا تقربه. So don't do it. Then a man cannot do it. This hadith, Imam al-Bukhari said ليس بالصحيح, but he said about it that sahih مرفوع موقوف عن, يعني from the Sahaba. At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Hibban, Ibn Majah, Ibn Hazm, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, all of them said this is sahih as well. So this gives another depth to the issue. Now we get to the aqwal al-Sahaba. From the Sahaba, some of them took the opinion that a man can make wudu from it. From them, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. And from them, the Jamhur, the majority of the Sahaba took that he cannot, including Abdullah ibn Sarjin and Al-Hakam ibn Al-Ghaffari and Ghunaym ibn Qais and others. Sahih riwayat. Tayyib. So now we're looking at a lot of different adillah, right? Authentic adillah on both sides. So what do you do? When we look at this issue, the first thing we look at is we first look at how to put together the riwayat. The riwayah in Sahih Muslim that mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaghtasil bifadl al-maymuna. This is the one that everybody uses. Everybody uses this riwayah. But as Ibn Qudama and others have pointed out, if you look in the same Sahih Muslim from Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, the same narrator, it mentions in Sahih Muslim an Maymuna, from Maymuna radiyallahu anha, from the actual Sahabiya, the wife Ummahat al-Mu'mineen that's mentioned in the Hadith, إنها كانت تغتسل وهي والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من إناء واحد. What does that tell us? That Hadith is actually for the case where Rasulullah sallam and Maymuna were both making ghusl. It was not bi khalwa, bi khalat biha. So that hadith is actually not a dalil for this mas'ala. This is a little more in depth, I know, but inshallah, I mean, you have to start expanding. We already did akhsar and stuff, easy stuff, so you got to start expanding your mind. Tayyib, so that's one. Next, about the azwaj al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the riwayah, la yujnub, yani the water does not become junub. The meaning here also comes yujnub, to make somebody junub. Meaning that water would not make somebody junub. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, when he explained how that water was used, they said they would scoop Rasulullah sallam and his wife and they would take it out. They would scoop it out, let it flow out. It wouldn't be that water anymore. So this dalil also has al-jawab. But if you look at the nahi of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is clear, sarihan, from sahih ahadith, then it gets to be a clear, sarih dalil. So if you have a mubham dalil, a dalil that is not sarihan, and then you have a sarih dalil, Rasulullah saying a man should not use that water, clear. Tayyib? Then first thing, sarih is given preference over mubham. Second thing, the other ahadith of the jamhur are fi'li, when this hadith about the nahi is qawli. If Rasulullah did something and he instructed something, then the qawli is given precedence over the fi'li. The qawl is given preference over fi'li. Tayyib. But now let's go to a deeper level, just because your head isn't spinning enough yet. What about the aqwal of Sahaba? Is the qawl of a Sahabi or the fi'l of a Sahabi a hujjah fil madhab, in the usul of the madhab? But when? Only when it is not contradicted by another Sahabi. The qawl or a fi'l, the saying or an action of a Sahabi is a hujjah only when it's not contradicted by other Sahaba. If there's contradictory aqwal, then you can't make that a hujjah. Then it's no longer hujjah. So here, what is the situation? You have the majority of the Sahaba saying that you cannot use that water. But you do have some saying that you can. So is it a hujjah? Yes. Because there is a deeper usul, right? Which is, if you have a hadith marfu'an, right? That now you are looking at two sides. And then you have aqwal of Sahaba, but there is jamhur and it's khalif al-qiyas. What does that mean? This is the kind of stuff I like. What does that mean? Tayyib, water. Qiyasan, if you just made qiyas, would that water become, is there any difference between a man making wudu and a woman making wudu? And qiyasan, no. So when the Sahabi gives a qawl khalif to qiyas, that means we give that hukam of marfu'. What does that mean? A Sahabi can give qiyasan. He will give his own ijtihad. He cannot give a hukam shar'i for something khalif to qiyas. Khalif to qiyas comes with wahi. You feel me or you don't feel me? You get me or you don't get me? You don't get me. Tayyib. Let's say I ask you a question. I ask you, is snot najis or not? Okay? Now, I'm not asking you the question. You will give an answer based on your qiyas, unless you know the adillah. If you don't know proofs, then you will come with whatever you make qiyas on. Well, if vomit is or it isn't, then it's kind of like that. You see what I'm saying? Your opinion will be qiyas based. But if you say no, because there's a hadith on it, then that means it's a wahi based answer, not a qiyas based answer, right? If I asked you whether wadi and madi and mani is najis or not, mani qiyasan should be najis. But because the hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha in Sahih Muslim and others, because of wahi, we say it's not. So that means if a Sahabi gives his own opinion, it will be qiyasan, it's not a hujjah here. But if he gives an opinion khalif to the qiyas, then that means this is wahi based. He learned this from Rasulullah sallam. He cannot come up with his own such opinion. This is kind of deeper stuff, but inshallah you will get it. Tayyib. So now we get back to the mas'ala. Those adillah that mention that Rasulullah made wudu with the fadl, with the leftover water of his wives, all of them can be answered. Because if you look at the other riwayat, they make tashrih of those riwayat that these were not left over from khallat. But those riwayat where there is a clear sarih nahi cannot be answered. Okay? So this is one. Second, those that are nahi are sarih, while those that mention the jawaz are mubham. So this gives second strength to this opinion. Third, the jamhur al-sahaba أكثر كما قال Imam Ahmad. Imam Ahmad said the greater number of sahaba took the opinion that a man cannot use, so that gives precedence. Fourth, those are khalif al-qiyas, so they are wahi based, give the hukm of raf'a when these ones are not. Okay? So if you look at all these adillah, then what is rajih is what the muallif said here. Even if it's from the mufradat of the madhab, it is rajih bi-adillah, bi-dalil, which is that. Now, but you need to understand the hukm. If the water is a large amount, then it's tahur no matter who uses it. We're talking about yasir, a small amount of water. Small amount meaning less than qullatayn. And a woman uses it bikhalwa, khalat bihi, yani alone, privately, not at the same time as her husband. And she doesn't let it flow, yani it's not like there's a tap, like if you go to a shower, it's a small amount of stagnant water that the water is going back into. Tayyib. And she uses it for a complete raf' al-hadath. Complete raf' al-hadath. And this hukam will only be applicable to a man using that same water for raf' al-hadath. Can a man use that for izal al-najasat? Yes. Can another woman use that? Yes. Tayyib, why? Why? Because of dalil. This is not qiyasan. This is bid-adillah. Okay? Everyone understood this issue? Okay? But I will end with one thing. Why do we do it? Adillah. يعني أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن توضأ الرجل بفضل طهور الامرأة كما أخرج أبو داود والترمذي والنسائي، وقال الشيخنا الباني حديث صحيح، وقال أحمد شاكر شيخنا أحمد شاكر حديث صحيح وشعيب الأرنود. This is it. This is the dalil. خلاص. But I will mention something. Water takes effect. If you study homeopathic medicine, or if you study how pathogens work with water and things like this, water takes effect from being used, and that effect is not sometimes readily seen. So there is a hikmah here from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if we don't know the exact hikmah of it, we have the adillah, we follow the adillah. طيب. جزاكم الله خيرا.